This recording is being made via a Verizon Casio Exilim 2010 edition cell phone. This video has also been set at the maximum resolution availability for video recordings with the cell phone, which is 320. It won't go any higher than this. As you know, the video resolutions are listed in a general drop-down format, of which, in, I guess, descending order from greatest to least, or ascending order from least to greatest, meaning that you can't scroll up any further than the maximum available resolution. This phone stopped at 320. There was nothing above it. That was the very top of the list. So, and as you know, lens limitations start to become an issue when you start hitting the maximum resolution. You can start noticing that based on the lens limitation, the limitations of the lens of the device you're using, flipping up to max resolution might only improve the quality of the recording a little bit, but not completely, because it's a pretty tiny lens. But where was I? Yeah, this is pretty good. Alright, right when I get to 2 minutes, that's when I'm going to do something here. That's what I'm going to... Do you see this? This is a boombox. You know what this is? This is an audio cassette deck. Real mucky suck. What if you could take a radio such as that, and instead of having a built-in internally wired audio cassette deck, which is currently the most popular way to record radio broadcasts, what if you could instead have a radio that could be capable of recording live radio broadcasts directly into compressed MP3 format, immediately onto a blank CD-ROM? In other words, what if there were such a boombox where I could just, open up a CD-ROM player like this, slip in a blank CD-ROM, shut it, select FM quality. It might not tell you the bit rate, but it might tell you, it might seek out the digital equivalent of the FM broadcast quality. Hit record, and it will record, but not into a music CD format, but rather instead into a compressed MP3 format, thereby causing the CD-ROM, let's suppose for all intents and purposes, the 700 megabyte / 80 minute CD-ROM will last a whole lot longer. What if also that CD-ROM MP3 recorder could be internally hot-wired, just as the standard audio cassette deck is? Meaning that, when you slip in a tape and you hit record, it's always going to get the volume right. It's always going to match the volume's richness and dynamic levels with what it's recording, such as from the radio or compact disc or what have you. Because you don't have to, play with any input or output selectors. It just gets it right every time because it's internally hooked up. What if you could make the CD-ROM MP3 recorder in your boombox, just like this, internally wired, just as this cassette deck is. So all you need to do, rest assured, is hit record. And that thing will be smart. It will know what to do. And so smart, in fact, that it will seek out the digital equivalent of that FM signal or that AM signal. And you could hit AM quality when you're recording an AM signal, and it'll automatically flicker into mono MP3. So when you play back that AM recording's MP3 file in Winamp, the mono indicator will light up. And you could be thumbing through a stack of audio cassette tapes, both being double-sided, mind you, or you could instead be seeking through one single lengthy MP3 file and on a computer. And rest assured, you never have to worry about data loss events and data loss nightmares, because the device is recording straight to CD-ROM. So you would either be playing on your computer directly off of playing the audio track on your computer directly off of the CD-ROM, or you would copy and paste the file from the CD-ROM onto your computer. But if your hard drive ever suffered a fatal head crash, or you got hit with a massive virus, or your house burned down, or whatnot, well, no, X that last one out because the CDs would be in it. Let's say if your hard drive suffered a fatal crash or head snack, or you've suffered a fatal virus that invaded everything, and you lost all your files, you'd never have to worry about losing your radio recordings because they would be written directly to CD-ROM. Just keep the CD-ROM somewhere, and you'll never lose them. But how many of you like this idea? A boombox capable of recording directly from live radio broadcasts. You could record live local radio broadcasts, not to audio cassette, but rather instead to CD-ROM via a compressed MP3 file. And you don't have to play around with any externally hooked up devices. It could be right in the radio, because people tend to get lazy. If there is a way to do something, but it's long and complicated and it's too tricky and there's too many tasks involved, people are either going to do it or they're not going to do it. Or they're probably just going to be able to live without it. But if they can make it so it's so easily accessible, such as having a boombox that actually was manufactured with an internally hot-wired CD-ROM MP3 recorder, and all people need to do is slip in the disc, select AM or FM quality, and hit record, and rest assured that the radio broadcast is being recorded directly into compressed MP3 format via the digital equivalent of the FM broadcast quality. And they don't have to play with any wires. They could even have the radio placed on mute or the volume turned all the way off. But just as is the case with the audio cassette deck, it's recording. And it's recording the sound, and it's perfectly reproducing the sound or the audio from that broadcast. I know of no devices as of right now, but that definitely is one of the many things in my daily life that gives me the plain incentive to want to keep myself alive, because I want to be around to witness these things. Now, with these said boomboxes, with these internally hot-wired CD-ROM MP3 recording deck, to replace the audio cassette deck, which likewise could be internally wired to always get the volume, output, and dynamic levels right and make a perfect reproduction of how loud or silent the broadcast was. Like when you slip in an audio cassette tape and you press record and you record a local radio broadcast, the broadcast is always going to be the same exact audio output levels. It's going to be exactly how loud the broadcast was when you play back the tape. The tape will always be the same levels. You could do the same with the DVD-ROM. I'm not DVD, I mean CD-ROM. You could record from the radio directly into MP3. What if you could have that boombox be equipped to be capable of having an external antenna hooked up to it? Like, instead of this one, which is internally fitted with a rod antenna back there, what if it could be, you could insert it, you could hook up a roof antenna to that radio to improve the reception or the signal strength. And as you record your CDs, or your MP3 files of the radio broadcasts, you could get better reception. Now we'll get to the DVDs. My finger keeps blocking the phone. As I record, I don't look into the phone, so I keep losing track of that my finger blocks it. That's what happens. It's not intentional. It's something I lose track of, I guess. What if there could be, how there's DVD recorders? Well, here's something I still use. Oh, there's more. Geez, am I ever going to run out? Not quite. Now, there is one way. Geez, I got so many tapes to last. Enough tapes to last 2 lifetimes, huh? 3, maybe even 3. And here, I'll tell you one. So how the heck will I ever abandon these, these guys? I know how. See this? This is a DVD player. It's capable of playing, yet not recording onto DVD-ROM. Now, DVD-ROMs generally get recorded onto in a video format, such as how CDs, there's a music format for CDs that makes the CD-ROM only last no more than 80 minutes if it's a 700 megabyte disk, which is what I swear by. But what if you could have a DVD recorder that could record your broadcasts or programs directly into one of the popular compressed video file formats, which that might make, just as likewise how an MP3 file format will most likely make a CD-ROM hold many more hours than it would in music format. Perhaps the popular compressed digital file video formats for video might cause the DVD-ROMs to last a lot longer as well. I'm talking about internally wired, just as a regular DVD player is, or a recorder is. but the recordings could be written directly into either .avi, .mp4, or .mov file format. You could possibly select from the array of formats, but most likely the format that the compressed file format that the DVD player will record your programming into will highly depend upon which device you're using, such as how the most popular video file format for the Nikon Coolpix camera series is .mov, QuickTime Movie, or QuickTime Video movie format. But the most popular format for certain other cameras is .avi, and certain other cameras record into .mp4. But could you imagine if you could have a DVD recorder that could record your live programmings and shows directly into compressed video file format? You could select the resolution, but most likely you could not select the format. So again, you could select the resolution. You could select the resolution, but most likely you could not select the video format. It decides for you, but imagine this. Imagine you could generate a DVD-ROM chock full of files with your DVD-ROM recorder, whereas instead of recording DVD video, you're recording DVD. Tongue-tied again. Instead of recording DVD video, you are actually recording compressed video files, as though you're at a computer. Remember what I said earlier in this? I said at some point in one of my videos that it's all about availability and how many extra steps and how much extra hassle it requires. People get lazy, and either they're going to do something or they're not going to do something. And most people, if there are several complex steps involved, they're not going to do anything. And if what I am describing here as recording, as opposed to in the standard DVD video formats, recording instead into compressed video file format onto the DVD, if that requires lots of fancy schmancy, tripped out wiring and stuff, then people are probably never going to get around to it, right? They're like, I can live with the video format, less hassle. But what if you could make it readily available, such as the boombox that could be hot wired with, instead of this, an internally wired CD-ROM MP3 recorder that could automatically get the volume right, just as you stick in a audio cassette tape and press record. And it always gets the volume levels right. No matter what you do, it's always going to come out exactly however loud or soft the radio broadcast was. You're going to, however you heard it over your broadcast, your handheld Walkman or your car, it's going to sound the same on the tape, perhaps with a little bit of diminishment in sound quality. But it's going to pretty much capture the essence. You don't have to play with, and you could even be recording with the radio off, with the sound completely turned down or set on mute, and the tape's writing correctly. You play back the tape that you recorded without the sound turned on, and the tape will show you the volume the correct way. You could set up, now the CD-ROM recorder that's making the compressed, writing your broadcast into MP3 format, you could have the radio's volume turned completely off, but since it's internally wired, the CD-ROM player and recorder, it will always capture the broadcast, however loud or soft you have the volume turned. But making that easily accessible. So like if you purchase a boombox and that CD-ROM MP3 recorder is directly, it's immediately, it's part of the boombox, then people are going to go, you know, this is a pretty fancy feature. Let's use it. It's easy, you know. It would have, and just as if the DVD recorder came with a compressed file format writing option, whereas the recordings, it's all internally wired, so the recording of your favorite television shows directly into compressed, one of the compressed, or so it's recording one of your most favorite, say recording your most favorite television show directly into one of the most popular compressed video file formats. Since it's internally wired, it would record the same exact way that the standard DVD video would record, except only it would record into compressed video file format. But if you could make that option very accessible and readily available, as in you just have to, you know, press a certain button or something, almost like accessing the feature on the DVD player, then people are going to go, this is a pretty interesting feature, let's do it. I think I should do this. This is an excellent idea. Now, I don't know how to buy a patent or how to protect this idea. Like, suppose I post this video online and somebody goes, yeah, that's an excellent idea, and then they cash in on my idea. That's bad, right? Plus, many of the good folks who come up with these ideas have enough money to be able to buy things that would allow them to toy with these stuff. For example, what's a great example? There's an example. Maybe in order to experiment with this, I would need to purchase certain devices or, you know, research or something that would all cost money. And if I'm a standard, everyday, middle-class Joe, such as myself, then I'm not even going to be able to fund, or, you know, will simply be non-feasible for me to be able, I won't be able to purchase some of these things that maybe had I purchased, perhaps there would have been a chance that I could have been able to fund this. Plus, I'm not very circuit board savvy. So like, for instance, I would not know how to take apart this radio and rig it to have a MP3 recorder hooked up to it. Like, for instance, laying around here on this table are some unused CD players taken from this entirely virus-ridden and now dead Windows XP Dimension 8200 computer. Those, maybe you could kind of extract the general interior CD player functions and somehow insert it in here, almost like you could slip apart a computer CPU and slip in a different hard drive. Like, because computers have different parts. They have the hard drive, they have the circuit board. The hard drive holds all the data. And then the data is the stuff you add onto the hard drive. And then you have the hard disk, and then you have the circuit board, which pretty much provides it with the RAM, which is memory, which that's another thing you can add to a computer. Maybe, so the inner workings of a computer, in other words. I'm certain these boom boxes have inner workings. But see, what differentiates everyday average Joes such as myself, who are just fascinated and they've got a fascination or obsession, from what differentiates people such as myself who are OCD or obsessive compulsive from the inventors is that the inventors probably have more of a working knowledge of how to take things apart, they might have the financial funding to be able to support certain things that without your being an inventor simply would not be made possible, pretty much. I don't know the inner workings of a boombox, For instance, somehow this thing, once upon a time, was wired so that, there's got to be a way that they rigged it so that when you slip in a tape and you hit record, it always gets the volume right. Maybe somewhere underneath there's wires or something. I don't know, but what if, how would you be able to possibly rig such a boombox to be fitted with a CD-ROM that could be capable of recording live radio broadcasts directly into MP3 file format? And how could you rig it with software that might closely resemble the standard handheld digital camera or camcorder, that can tell it? Would you like FM stereo broadcast quality or AM broadcast quality? And it can actually seek out the thing. How could you hardwire, or internally hotwire a CD-ROM MP3 file recorder to match the volume outputs just as this audio cassette deck does? Do you think there's a way? How would you assemble such software? Would it be feasible? Would people use it? Would people want to buy that? How many people would use this MP3 recorder function to record radio broadcasts? Would it really pick up in popularity, or would people not give a rat's ass? Or what about the DVD-ROM recorder, for instance? What if there could be a DVD-ROM? This is just a DVD player at the bottom of the stack of VCRs here. It only plays, yet does not record on DVD. So this only plays, yet does not record onto DVDs. But what if you could make it so that you could have a DVD recorder that could not only record DVD video, but it could also record into one of the most popular compressed digital video file formats, so that as you record the DVD, you could have the option of recording either a DVD video or direct to file compressed video file format. So, like, in other words, if you say I want to take one episode of the Hellcats, that's currently my favorite show, I could wind up the DVD recorder and actually write a Hellcats episode directly into AVI file format, or MP4 file format, or .mov format. No DVD video, just directly to file. Now, suppose I could keep that DVD-ROM inserted into the DVD recorder. The following week, I could write the next AVI file. And then the following week, I can write the next AVI file. But the thing is, without using a computer, without using any externally wired things that require playing with or toying with the volume output levels, it could be internally hot-wired, just as a standard DVD is. Just like when you record onto DVD video, onto a DVD. in the regular video, it could use the same internally wired software to record directly to a compressed file. Yet it would come out exactly as smooth as the DVD video would, because it's being written. The files are being written with the DVD player. If you could make it very readily available, like I said, people get lazy. They don't want to do something that's going to require all this additional rigging and wiring and playing around with, wobbling audio input and output level knobs around. They're going to want to have something that's, boom, instantly ready. So they're going to want to only be working with, such as the DVD recording device, that all you have to do is just select an option. Almost like switching the resolution around on a digital camera. You select the max resolution, you might select the fine JPEG quality. Some people like using RAW files. I don't. I like the fine JPEG. But basically, you could do something similar. The DVD player could say, could offer you all of the standard DVD, straight to DVD video formats. And then it can also offer you, it could say, compressed moving JPEG. And it could offer you not only the standard SP, LP, and SLP/EP speeds, 2, 4, 6 hours respectively. It could then offer you below, or to the right or left, a separate menu that could say, or compressed .avi moving JPEG, or MP4, or MOV, depending on the host device or the company that manufactured the player. And you could actually record your favorite shows not in DVD video format, but in fact in one of the most popular compressed video formats. How popular would this become? Probably this would take off. Probably have a better shot at taking off than would the idea of the boombox capable of generating FM broadcast, live FM broadcast recordings directly into MP3 file format. Having the device possibly not even tell you what the bit rate is. It will just prompt you on AM or FM broadcast. And if it's an AM broadcast, automatically be smart enough to flicker the MP3 file into mono, so that as you play it back in Winamp, the MP3 mono indicator will light up. So it'll tell you it's an MP3 file, and it'll tell you it's in mono, for instance. Mono is an option that even some of the highest of MP3 qualities can offer. For instance, once I had an MP3 file that was at the fixed bit rate of 128K, but it was in mono. And I've listened to an online radio stream that was in mono, despite the fact that it was in 128 MP3 format. Or I've listened to certain 64K internet radio MP3 streams that are in mono, and other MP3 internet radio streams at 64K that are in stereo. So, but I think that more popular, I would say that the DVD compressed file option on a DVD recorder might take off a lot more than would the standard, the boombox thing. Because, think of this. People could get software on their computers, and then they would have to wire up their, wire the computers up to their DVD recorders or up to their television sets and use software to record. And that's probably going to require lots of playing around and fiddling around with the volume knobs and stuff. screw that. I mean, what if there could be a way that you could actually just turn on your DVD recorder and it can act like can have a menu option that's very similar or resembling to the video or photograph quality menu on a standard handheld digital camera, where it provides you with a list of, in descending order from max resolution downward, or ascending order from minimum resolution upward, where it could tell you, the DVD recorder could tell you, give you an option of which which digital video. The DVD player could give you a menu that could resemble that of the quality selection menu for a standard handheld digital camera. That could give, the DVD player could give you an option of either all three DVD video not formats. The DVD player could give you a menu that could give you the option of either all three of the DVD video quality settings, or it could even give you the compressed digital video file qualities. So it could say, you know, ST 2 hours, LT 4 hours, SLT-EP 6 hours. That's DVD video. Then, either below or to the right, it could say, you know, compressed video file options. And it could provide you with different resolutions for compressed files. In other words, 320p, 480p, 720p, 1080i or P, so that you're not only, that DVD recorder is not only capable of recording either of the three standard typical DVD video qualities, but it could also be capable of writing your favorite radio, the DVD recorder could also be capable of recording your favorite television shows directly into, it could be capable of writing your favorite television shows directly into a file format, such as AVI, MP4, or MOV, depending on the device. AVI is moving JPEG, MP4 is, not sure what they call that, and .mov is QuickTime Video Movie. This is really a stupendous idea. Although I do not know the inner workings of DVD players, nor do I know the inner workings of radios, nor do I have the funding. I'm not a rich boy. I'm living with my parents. We're upper middle class. They've worked their whole lives. I'm unemployed and right in the middle of this economy. Although I am college educated, and I do hold a 4-year bachelor's degree in mathematics that I got right after high school. So I mean, I know how to problem solve, knock on wood. But I just think, I have an idea. Unfortunately, there's so many scams out there. You never really know what to, people rip you off. So you don't really know, so then I lack the connections. That's another thing I'm getting at. I don't have all these sweet connections. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who to go to with this. All that's going to happen is, I might, post this video online. My finger might have been blocked in the bottom of this video again. I might just post this online, and somebody's going to come across this video. And they're going to go, that's a great idea. And then next thing I know, without any big flashy news stories whatsoever, I'm going to hear or witness a televised, or a news story. No, without even any, I'm just going to all of a sudden start going to stores, and the exact ideas I had in mind are going to start popping up. Like, I'm going to start witnessing that radio with the fitted, internally hot-wired MP3 file recorder, CD-ROM thing, to replace the tape deck. Or even a DVD recorder capable of generating compressed video files in addition to the regular old standard DVD video. I'm going to start seeing these things spring up in stores, but I'm not going to hear anything back because somebody with the connections might hear these videos or might witness these videos, and they might go, that's a great idea, and they'll swipe it and they'll use it for themselves. What could I do about it? Absolutely nothing. I'm going to travel the high road, but I'm saying, and they'll have all these nice lawyers and attorneys probably, and they'll have people they can consult. Like, remember how I told you, there's all of these internet scams that tell you, have an idea, we can get you a patent for your thing. They're really saying, please give me your credit card number. Now please give me your routing number. Oh, can you please let us take all your money and rob you? Thanks. That's what's, And and then I try to go to my dad or something. Nobody's going to know, I don't have the connection, see. But suppose I were to post these videos, and somebody were to go, ooh, great idea. Hey, Dad, look at this. And they were to use their connections, and all of a sudden, I see my ideas springing up in stores, in local retail stores. I go, hey, that was my idea. You know what I'm saying? Then maybe my dad would recommend me to file suit or something. Oh, file for a settlement. It's a settlement, basically. We saw an excellent movie about the creation of Facebook. Now, that's one topic I'm not going to get into because I love the website so much that I am going to completely wave the surrender flag, the white surrender flag, to any reservations against anybody involved in the creation of it, because I like that site a lot, and there's lots of possibilities I want to seek out with that social network website. So I'm going to say, so the movie did address very interesting ideas about you stole my idea. So what I'll do is I won't name names, I'll just say similar issues can occur. When you got a standard average Joe, such as myself, come up with these fascinating invention ideas, but simply don't have the ingenuity or the know-how to know the inner workings of those devices, and also lack the financial funding to be able to fund these ideas or the inventative work. I only have my imagination, but I lack the connections. So like I said, I could post this video online because, otherwise, this is just me rambling, It's completely, no one in the world will ever know of this idea. So the only thing I could think of is to post the videos of these ideas online. And somebody with the connections and the souped-up family budget and the souped-up connections might come across the videos, and again, they'd be drooling, their mouths would be watering, they'd be thinking, oh man, I gotta come up with this. And then before you know it, like I said, I see things spring up. And you know, there is a similar scene that so clearly generates or captures the essence of the heartbreak in all this, of what I'm discussing. It's in this movie known as 13 Going on 30. It's that scene where the main character leaves she finds out that her snotty friend, so-called friend, just sold out the magazine that she worked for. And she and all of her coworkers were out of a job. And she leaves the building and she witnesses a billboard on a public transportation bus that illustrates the very exact same cover story idea that she had. But it was on the competing magazine. They stole it, and she was out on her duff. You know, she's out on her butt, and she didn't have anything. The other people stole that idea, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that's the kind of heartbreak I'm talking about. And so, you got to realize with me, I don't have any real formal belief structure. I'm very casual. I never really, the way I've always been my whole entire life is I couldn't care less about religion, really. Religion never really played much of a role in my life. Why am I suddenly talking about this? Well, I'll tell you, because, see, there's the whole thing that the more religiously devout people think is like you shouldn't steal, or you should do something that feels like it's the right thing to do. The way I think is a little more like street smarts. I think I never really reference like, you know, don't steal, or, you know, you've been brought up better or whatnot. I reference more like being overly protective and defensive, or like, actively protect your ideas, you know, because somebody's going to steal your idea. So I get a little more paranoid, a little more like, that's what I'm more like. I'm more in terms of when I come up with an idea, I try to get very defensive and possessive of my idea and, you know, hope that nobody steals it and stuff. Do I know right from wrong? Well, I have more of a casual regard towards the concept. Meaning, you know, I think like, oh, don't do that, that's not cool, you know, or that's low class. You know, have some class. But I don't think of it in terms of like, do you believe in anything? Because I'm more from the business world. Rather than do unto others as you would want others to do unto you, I'm thinking do others before others do you. You know, that's more what I'm like. Basically, I'm kind of an outcast of the, like watching that movie, Meet the Parents. That would have set my temper off a little as they were trying to like go like, oh, like you blah blah. Like, for instance, the courtroom setting. Do you attend church? Blah, blah, or like that scene in the Rosa Parks movie where it's like Rosa Parks finally had gotten her ability to vote, and then the one behind her in line, the same lady who gave Rosa Parks a hassle, was like, I'll see you in church, blah, blah, blah. I'd be like raging in my mind because I'd be thinking, oh, so they're making the assumption that only the people who go to church are good people. You know, like, in other words, it's like they're disrespecting. It's like, oh, yes. Like, oh, look at him. Look at that Smith family. They're fighting. They're going, like, or like when I like to joke, like when I see something that's way a religious rambling, I'm like, oh my God. You know, being like goofy. People might they'll come up with any excuse as possible as to justify why a particular person does not deserve a particular desirable thing. For instance, they might be like, oh, that Mark, he's got no religious culture, really. He's kind of rude. He's kind of obnoxious. We've been brought up better. We deserve to reap the benefits and cash in on his, we deserve to milk the cash cow out of Mr. Mark Smith's invention more than he does. We've been brought up better. We've blah, 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 blah. But here's what I think, though. I think it's true. And my finger keeps getting in the way of the phone. I keep losing track of this, by the way. I don't really look at the phone as I do this, so that's not intentional. But anyway, yeah, people try to come up with any possible justification to as to why any particular one person or individual does not deserve to reap the benefits of certain things. That Mark Smith is obnoxious. Ugh, he doesn't even know how to eat with his mouth closed all the time. He's, yuck, he has no class. He never goes to church. He never blah, blah, blah. He doesn't even know how to properly introduce himself or introduce people to one another. He's, yuck. I mean, people do that all the time with the lower socioeconomic class. Or maybe back in the day that was more so, such as in the Titanic. I love that line. Well, I guess I gotta go, time to go down and row with the other slaves. Something like that. I thought that was funny. Jack said something about trying to go back down and row with the other slaves. Me? I sleep in late Sundays and I'm proud of it. Sunday is the day I sleep in the latest. Yeah, see, but certain people who are a little more on the religious side might not think these jokes are very funny. And the way I see it, religion is just one piece of the pie as to justifications that certain people make as to trying to justify why certain people don't deserve certain things that other people do. It's kind of like those poor people get so violent and so what's the word I can't stand? One of my pet peeve words. Belligerent. Oh, these lower class people, they get so belligerent, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, well, maybe they are because they feel like people are not listening to them and taking them seriously. And so that it's their, last resort. As violence should be the last resort. It's kind of like, so what was I going to say? I'm going to tell you why, though. See, one of the reasons I never even bothered with religion is because when you look at all of the stuff that happens throughout the world, you got Muslim groups, which they basically, it's religious disagreements and stuff. Now, something I would know nothing about because, I'm over here in America, but I mean, you've got various people with differing religious views, and they want to assert their views and force people into feeling their way. And I feel that by lacking religious culture in my life, that's me canceling out, that's one less thing to worry about, is religious disagreement, because needless to say, the deadly two are politics and religion. So if I can cancel out the religion, then there's one less thing to disagree about, because as long as there's religion, there will always be people who will disagree. So if I can just lack religious culture in my life, then maybe that'll be one less thing for people to disagree with me over, or for me to disagree with over other people. Muslims. Well, I don't know a lot about Muslims. I just know that that Muslims there's many different kinds of Muslims, and not every Muslim agrees with the different types of Muslims, and that's their battle. I think that we Americans should have stayed out of Iraq and allowed the local Muslim groups to settle their disputes at a local level. It sounds kind of cruel, but it's kind of like in nature when you see an animal chasing another animal. Do you hunt down and blow to bits the animal that's chasing the other animal? Or do you just stand back and you watch? That's nature. Maybe if you stood back and watched, you would have witnessed the other animal would have outsmarted the one chasing it, and got away. So that's how I feel like people who are more religious, they try to spread, just as Americans try to spread democracy all over the world, Christians could try spreading their ideas everywhere. This doesn't always happen, by the way, but I'm being hypothetical. So if I could cancel the religion aspect, then I could thereby generate one less thing to anger people with. I think that's excellent. My religion is, I don't really have one. I am a 50-50 down the middle split. I'm a 50-50 mix of Jewish and Episcopal Protestant. So I'm half Jewish and half Episcopal. I practice neither, and I'm happy that way because it's just too confusing. I had two grandfathers, either one who was saying, do you have any religious thing in your life, any religious culture in your life? I blocked them out because both grandfathers would tell me, you can't be both. You're either one or the other. Either you believe this or you believe that. So I said, to hell with it. I just don't care now. It's no kidding though. I sleep in late every Sunday and I'm proud of it. Now, I mean this not as insult, by the way. I'm in no way trying to insult the people who do follow beliefs, and I'm not trying to insult any churchgoers or anything. I'm just saying that I am exercising my right to freedom of belief and freedom of speech. So, as being an American or a citizen of the United States of America, I have every right to pursue whatever beliefs or whatever ideas I have. It's a free country. I cannot speak for various other countries. All I can say is, if there are local citizens to foreign countries who desire the freedoms and the privileges, we need to let them have their own revolutions and keep our, asses out of their turf. So, if Muslim women want their rights, that's not our business. We need to stay out of the country and let the Muslim women pursue their own rights. It sounds kind of selfish, but, nobody's going to know the troubles and the strife better than the victims themselves. Some white guy such as myself is going to do for a civil rights movement, or a hetero such as myself. How the hell am I going to be useful in a gay rights movement? Yeah, you need to stand back and let people fight their own battles. That's my approach. Okay. definitely got to save this video.